This is the Diamond Hogs Podcast with Mason Choate and Robert Stewart.
Welcome to the Diamond Hogs Podcast. We are excited. Arkansas is going to the Super Regionals after the whole year. Everybody's saying, not the whole year, but for most of the year, everybody's saying this team's not going to make it out of the regionals. This team stinks. They shouldn't host a regional. They shouldn't host a Super Regional. Yeah, they probably shouldn't have, but they won a regional. And oh my goodness, what a regional it was. We're going to get to that. Michael Turner, regional MVP. How about that? Very ironic. Very good for Michael Turner. And let's see what else. I mean, like there's so much to get to. So Arkansas wins the finale 7-3, the regional final. They win it 7-3 to advance to the Supers. They're going to go to Chapel Hill next weekend to take on North Carolina. Oh, boys. What a regional. Robert, did you expect that?
I believe I owe you $5 because no, I did not expect that.
You do owe me $5. I have a feeling that a lot of people did not listen. Well, maybe some normal listeners, excuse me, did not listen to our recap of the 14-10 loss that Arkansas had on Sunday night. Robert and I made a $5 bet. He bet that Arkansas and Oklahoma State would hit the over in the final game. I bet that they would hit the under. We went off of the Bet Saracen line, which was set at 16.5 runs, which is it's a lot for a baseball game. It made sense for this regional, but still 16.5 is a lot of runs. And I won the bet. I just took the under because you were so confident in the over. I was like, might as well. And here we are.
This is why I'm not a betting man.
Yep. So $5 is coming my way. And that is I don't know if is that better or is Michael Turner winning regional MVP better? I don't know. I'll have to decide.
Or Hagen Smith getting a 2-inning save when nobody other than probably him, Matt Hobbs, and Dave Van Horn was that confident in it.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I tweeted it out. I was like, I'd rather see Wiggins right here. And I ate my words. I quote tweeted myself, said that guy's an idiot because I was. But I have to think realistically. You just said it. Nobody else thought that was going to happen aside from maybe a few people. And good for Hagen Smith. Don't think he should be starting anymore. Just bring him in at the end of games now. I don't know if it was just the situation or what, but that was it was incredible. The regional as a whole, not just that game. That game was incredible, but the regional was incredible. And we're going to get to Arkansas's win that clinched a super regional berth. But before we do, I want to remind you that we are on the Hit That Line podcast network. And you should know that by now because most of our listeners come from Hit That Line. And we're thankful that you listen there. Type in hitthatline.com to visit the website. You can find our podcast there. And type in Hit That Line wherever you get your podcast. You can also find us on the HawgBeat YouTube. That's where you're finding us right now. We are on YouTube if you're watching. And just go to HawgBeat.com for all of the best Razorback baseball coverage around from Andrew Hutchinson, myself. And you will not be disappointed if you do that. And then Matt Morris, State Farm. That is how we got to Stillwater. I was there for a few days. Had to come back home. Robert is still there, currently recording from the ballpark, O'Brate Stadium. And Matt Morris State Farm is a big reason why that was possible. And you need to go check him out if you're trying to get a great rate on your insurance. Call him at 501-568-3222 for your great rates today. I'm telling you, it is worth it. You can save money. You need to save money because you need to make the trip to Chapel Hill. If they win in Chapel Hill, you got to make the trip to Omaha. And to do that, you got to save some money. So call Matt Morris and you can save that money. 501-568-3222. Save money on your insurance. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements. Okay, Robert, you take over.
I mean, what a game. Like I said in the open, definitely didn't see a low-scoring game like that coming. I mean, if you can call 10 runs low-scoring, everything's relative. There were 100 runs in the last 3 games combined. So, I mean, what a job by Zach Morris getting the spot start. What a job by Cole Ramage erasing the base runners. I mean, we were talking about it in the press box. It's like, what are you doing bringing Cole Ramage in when you know he's bad with inheriting runners? Michael Turner picks a dude off right away. That really helped him out. I mean, he ended up going 2 2/3. Zebulon Vermillion did a really good job to get out of a jam there. And then obviously at the end, Hagen Smith. I mean, that may be like career defining for Hagen Smith. Seriously.
No, yeah, I mean, to this point, that is the biggest moment in his Razorback career for sure. Not even close. We haven't even mentioned producer Christian is with us, and I feel like if you listen to the Stillwater Regional preview, Christian was the only one who predicted the Arkansas Razorbacks to win. Robert and I, we were a little down on the Hogs. I mean, we were being more realistic. I mean, at the time. So I think we'll let you take your victory lap here, Christian, and then you cannot speak for the rest of the podcast.
I knew it all along, guys. I knew it all along. No, I'm definitely probably the biggest fan, I guess, in the podcast. You guys are more, it's your job. It's, it's your work. But I was still keeping up hope. I thought they were going to finally click. And I said multiple times when I was telling you guys, I was like, I don't know what it's going to look like. It's probably going to be ugly or it might be crazy. And it was definitely all of that. But it was a lot of fun to watch. And my wife got some funny videos of me like jumping around and screaming. But yeah, it was awesome.
Props to you, Christian, for predicting it. We need to have Christian do our betting segment moving forward. Should we have a betting segment moving forward? I feel like we should start gambling on every podcast and making gentlemen's bets between Robert and myself. Christian, you can get in on it if you want.
And my pick will just be whatever Mason does. I'll just pick the opposite of that. I think that'll work in my favor a lot.
Good plan.
Didn't work in your favor, Robert. You owe me $5.
You picked the opposite of what I picked. I didn't pick the opposite of what you picked.
So I guess the idea is to just pick the opposite of whatever the first person who picked something was. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, don't go first. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. So let's get into this game. Arkansas wins 7-3. Robert, you mentioned it. Zach Morris with the start. I will say, so I felt like it was going to be between Morris or Ramage. I felt more confident in it being Ramage only because he had thrown less pitches. But I mean, what a decision to throw Morris, I mean, that was just Zach Morris. Can you say he's been the most consistent arm of any Razorback pitcher all year? I think he has been. I mean, talk.
Yeah, I think he has been too. I mean, like I think the only reason you've seen him struggle a little bit in the last, 2-3 weeks maybe is because he's getting, I guess, I don't know, is overused the right word? I mean, relatively, yes. Like he's getting a lot more usage than he did to begin the year, but I mean, you're having to rely on him so much because you need him for his consistency, and that's what he's providing.
Yeah, I agree. I want to say this, and this is something I was thinking about during the game. If you told me before this season, and I feel like I've said this phrase a lot, if you told me before the season that in the regional final, the reason that Arkansas is going to go and play in a super regional is going to be because Zach Morris had a heck of a start, Cole Ramage did damage control, I would have been like, you're a liar. No way. Those are the two pitchers that Arkansas relied on to get to the super regionals. And here we are. That's what happened. And I think the biggest thing is, at least in the Stillwater Regional, gone are the days of Arkansas cannot get the clutch hit. I mean, how many times did they get the clutch hit in the Stillwater Regional in the past 2 days? And it was Michael Turner 2 times.
Yeah, I mean, it was throughout. That was the story of Saturday and Sunday's games for sure. And once again, it was the story of Monday's game. I mean, you think about it, it was Jalen Battles who came up with a 2-run single in the 4th with 2 outs, and then Barry has a base running play by him to take second on the throw home, and then Peyton Stovall coming through with his 7th hit of the regional. Who saw that one coming? Driving in Battles for the 4th run. So that, I mean, just like that, you got a 4-0 lead after it's looking like it's going to be a pitcher's duel. And then again there in the 6th, Peyton Stovall comes up with another one, and then Michael Turner, the 2-run double in the 9th, that really sort of put the game out of reach for Oklahoma State. That was, I mean, we had complained for weeks upon weeks about the inconsistency of the offense, and yet there it is, runners in scoring position, 2 outs, they're coming through, they're delivering, and just in case, Hagen Smith somehow regressed after that incredible ballsy strikeout of Rock Riggio, he had 2 more months of insurance to work with.
Yeah. So I want to go back to kind of what you were talking about with Peyton Stovall. Peyton Stovall needs to be in the lineup 100% of the time when it's a right-hander. I feel like this was a very right-handed pitching heavy regional, and that is a big reason why Stovall was so successful. But this dude rakes against righties. Like, that's just a fact. If there were a bunch of lefties throwing, Peyton Stovall is probably not on the all-tournament team, and we got to get to that. Is it no all regional team, not tournament?
The official email says 2022 NCAA baseball Stillwater Regional all tournament team.
Yeah, that's a mouthful.
Isn't it?
It is. But I feel like we're just going back and forth. But that's kind of what you have to do after these past Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 4 days. Let's go back to the beginning, the first inning. Zach Gregory's catch in left field, where he goes up, snags it after what happened on Sunday night, where he basically it was a big play in left field that he missed that might have, sent Arkansas to the Supers a day early. He comes out, makes that big play, gives him not only him confidence, and you could tell he was fired up after he made that catch. I feel like that gave the team confidence moving forward. And there were those plays defensively. They had 3 web gems within the first 3 innings of the game. One of them, the barehanded throw from Caden Wallace, where he jumps and throws it to first, gets the out. I mean, incredible. One of them, Robert Moore, deep second, turns around, throws it, gets the out. What was the other one? I can't remember.
There was the back pick for Michael Turner in the 4th.
Yes, there. Well, no, there was another web gem.
Well, Peyton Stovall's diving catch on the bunt.
Yeah, that's what it
Yes.
was. That's what it was. Okay.
That was in the 3rd as well. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Defense was the other huge storyline in this game too. Like you mentioned right away, Zach Gregory making that play. That wasn't the first, really nice running grab he's made in this regional. I can't remember if it was Saturday or Sunday. I know it was against Oklahoma State. And then, I mean, just like the situations of these defensive plays too, like it was bases loaded. Morris had walked 3 guys in the 2nd inning. And then it was looking like, there were so many things that could have gone wrong on that Caden Wallace barehanded play. Like he could have thrown it away. You were thinking best case scenario there, he just has to eat it. But he made the play, run did not score. And then, yeah, like you said, there was the diving catch by Stovall. That was really impressive. And then the Robert Moore play, that stranded another 2 runners on base. And then we were worried about Cole Ramage coming in, right? Michael Turner makes the back pick, guys out. Cole Ramage strikes out the 9-hole hitter, no problem. You're up 4-0 going into the 5th inning because of all the great plays your defense has made.
Yeah, I think that only creates momentum for your team. Those plays created so much momentum for Arkansas moving to the offensive side of the ball, which I feel like I'm talking about football when I say that, but it did. And it was scary for a little bit there, and towards the end where Oklahoma State created some momentum. What was it that it was the plays over at first with Lanzilli, and then Lanzilli gets thrown out at third because he comes off the bag. That was such a huge momentum shifter, and you felt like, I mean, I was texting Andrew Hutchinson, I was texting you, and it was just like, I wasn't texting you guys. You guys were texting me saying it's over, but I texted you saying, I don't feel good about this. Andrew Hutchinson said this game's over. Oklahoma State has all the momentum. And I'm not trying to like get at Hutch, because I feel like a lot of people thought, okay, this stinks. I mean, Arkansas is about to blow it. And luckily they didn't, but it felt like in that moment, I don't know how Arkansas is going to overcome this,
Yeah, I didn't think Chris Lanzilli had any business going to third base on that play because, like you said, Oklahoma State did have the momentum. They had just scored 3 runs in the past 2 innings to make it 5-3. You really needed to score there in the top of the 8th. It felt like, especially if if the thought was that Hagen Smith was going to start pitching in the eighth. I mean, he didn't start pitching, but he came in with nobody out in the eighth. And that was right after the warning too. Like, why were they throwing over to Chris Lanzilli, who's attempted to steal 3 bases this season? He's not a threat to steal, and they threw it over probably 7 or 8 times, didn't they?
I don't know. I feel like that's kind of. I don't think that they were trying to, sit here and say, "Hey, we're going to get Lanzilli out." I think it was more of, we're going to try to do this to mess with the guy at the plate and try to go back and forth, figure this out. But it was just so dumb. And then at one point, who was it? Mendham, that's the first baseman. He at one point he takes his glove after Lanzilli goes back one time, and there was like a whole thing, and then he takes his glove and like pushes Lanzilli. And then I know Mendham got a warning. I think they also gave Lanzilli a warning too, which is like, why? But maybe there were some words said, and rightfully so, after those actions that Mendham did. But in the grand scheme of things, those plays didn't matter. The play that mattered, in my opinion, I mean, biggest play of the game, the Michael Turner hit in the ninth, the two-run double. I mean, he's your MVP of the weekend. I think, I don't know. It is just incredible the week that Arkansas baseball had going into this. All of the storylines, and Michael Turner has this weekend, and basically he is. I mean, they were up 5-3, but he's the reason that they're going to the Supers. It's a team effort. It's a team effort. But he was the MVP, the most valuable player, and it was for a reason. It wasn't because people voted for him, gave him sympathy votes because he played good. He earned that,
Yeah, in case 7 hits and 9 RBIs weren't enough, he added an 8th and 2 more RBI to get his total to 11. I mean, that's 11 in 4 games. Are you kidding me? He most definitely earned it. I mean, it's like you said, with all the storylines, it's poetic in a way.
What were Reggio's stats? Because I feel like he probably had better
gosh.
stats than Turner. Not gonna lie.
Let me see if I can find him. Keep talking.
Okay. Christian, we're going to get to some listener questions from Twitter here in a minute, but is there anything that you wanted to add from this game? Because I feel like we've been hogging the mic.
No, it's okay. So one thing about the Lanzilli, like keeping him on first, I think what they're trying to do is exactly what happened when Battles hit the ball on the right. Just keeping him an extra step closer to first makes him advancing to another base that much harder. So I think by keeping him just even a step or half a step closer to first, it makes those plays tougher for the runner. And obviously, I don't think they're expecting him to run to third on that play. But he had no business going there, because after Battles had a tough at bat and then gets a base hit there, and then we have Stovall who's on fire coming up. It's like, man, that was kind of devastating in the moment. But obviously, it worked out.
Yeah, no, that completely makes sense. I agree with you there. Lanzilli, probably one of 2 or 3 guys in the lineup that you don't want stretching that. I mean, when I watched the replay, I don't know if he looked over at Thompson to get a sign. I think he just was like, I'm going, and
he was probably fired up after all those throwovers.
Yeah, but I mean, I think if you've watched Arkansas baseball, and this is in no way offense to Chris Lanzilli, but he is not one of the more speedier guys on the team. Yes, he plays in right field, but I mean, and speaking of him playing in right field, that sliding catch that he had, I don't remember who hit that liner, but if he doesn't make that catch, they scored a run on it. It was a sac fly, but if he doesn't make that catch, Oklahoma State scores 2 runs, and you're looking at a 5-4 ball game at the time. That sac fly made it 5-3, but that was an incredible catch by Chris Lanzilli. What inning was that in, Robert? Do you have that?
Yeah, it was the 7th. It was right after they had already scored 2 off a Ramage, right? He gave up those two singles at the bottom of the order. So they were at the heart of the order. That was the number 2 hitter that hit that line drive. And then he got a big ground out, or no, it was Vermillion pitching. Vermillion had come in. Vermillion got the fly or the liner to right. Lanzilli made the play. And then 2 more big outs by Vermillion really kept that game in hand. Do you want me to move back to Reggio stats now? I have them.
Yeah.
Okay. On the weekend, if I am correct here, it looks like he was 15 for 27. That's good for a 555 average. And he drove in 17 runs.
Holy crap. And he had 5 homers too.
He had 4.
4? Who had 5? Was it Nolan? Nolan McLean?
McLean, yes.
McLean.
Yeah, so I think it's a pretty safe bet that had Oklahoma State won that game, Reggio would be the most outstanding player.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, he had as much as you hate the guy and videos circulating after the game of him throwing his glove down. Heck of a ball player. Heck of a ball player. He could hit the ball. A lot of people talked about his fielding, and he did have a couple bonehead plays, but it was the shortstop, Brown from Springdale, the guy from Springdale, Marcus Brown. He made a lot of bad plays. Reggio wasn't really that bad in the field. I think a lot of people got him confused with Brown at shortstop.
I think you're right. I mean, neither of them were particularly good in the field. Like Reggio did have probably 1 or 2 errors, almost made another in this game on Monday. Like it was a play to his left. He was going toward first base, and he made the first baseman jump for what should have been an easy throw. Like by no means was he outstanding, but for sure it was Marcus Brown who had the tougher weekend in the field.
Yeah, I mean, Reggio is no Robert Moore, the son of Dayton Moore, but he was good. Do we want to do questions now, Robert, or did you want to talk about more stuff?
One more defensive play I want to bring up because it was pretty incredible. Hold on, where is it? Oh, in the 8th there, Hagen Smith's second batter. So he had first and second, nobody out. Grounder to third. No, it was the bunt to third. I think it was Marcus Brown bunt to third. Caden Wallace threw it to second base and got the out. That was ballsy. Now, I mean, with the 2 strikeouts to end things, it may not have made a difference one way or another, but that was a pretty heads up play, and even more so because it worked by Caden Wallace.
Yeah, I mean that was a big league play, and this whole weekend, Caden Wallace proved he is a big league ball player. He's going to get drafted, probably top 3 rounds. I would be shocked if he isn't a top 3 round pick. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a first round pick. So I agree. I think we need to just talk about the stats that Hagen Smith had, because we talked about him closing the game, but he went 2 innings, gave up no hits, no runs, walked a guy, hit a guy with a pitch, and then struck out 4. 2 of those strikeouts were the last 2 outs of the game, and one against Griffin Dorshing, who, I mean, people apparently he's like the greatest baseball player in the history of baseball. So
he got Dorshing to watch strike 3 to clinch the regional.
Yeah.
And that was crazy because that was a heck of an at bat too. It was like 8 or 9 pitches, I think. I mean, he was battling, and somehow he froze him, and that was that.
Yeah, I had my final score tweet ready to go, and I was just ready to hit tweet, and then he's fouling him off. That's tough on a journalist, Robert. It is tough on us because we're sitting there and we're waiting. We sat here for this whole game. We've watched this entire game. We are exhausted from watching so much baseball this weekend. Just finish the freaking game and go to the Supers, and they're going to the Supers. Neither one of us are going to make the trip to Chapel Hill. Christian, you're not making the trip to Chapel Hill. I know that. It's unfortunate.
So what I'm hearing is they have to win 2 out of 3 so they can go to Omaha.
They need to make it to Omaha because I want to go to Omaha. I'm not going if Arkansas doesn't make it. There's no point in me wasting my money to do that. So, I mean, yes, grow the game, but I'm not going to Omaha if Arkansas is not there.
Do you guys want to talk about the length of these games too, like 4 and 5 hour games?
Yes. So even the Monday game, it felt like it was a short game for a while there. And then you look up and it's like the game started at 6 and it's like 10 o'clock and you're at a 4-hour game. And I mean, throughout normally like a 3.5 hour game is pushing it, And so that's why I'm saying we're exhausted, It's fun. It's awesome. But these long games suck, man. They're fun to watch, though.
Yeah, well, especially when they produce so many runs. But, I mean, I was texting my dad before the game. He was like, "Hopefully, you'll have something to celebrate after the game." And I was like, "You know what? Anything under 4 hours would be cause for celebration." But unfortunately, they ran just 3 minutes over 4 hours. So, but you know what? We get to keep working, so I'll celebrate.
Yes, I think that is cause for celebration that we get to continue doing the Diamond Hawks podcast. I was genuinely afraid that this week we were going to have to do our season recap episode, and we don't have to do that. So that is great news. Okay, let's get to some comments and questions from listeners. This is from Hogs by 90 at Fuzzy Socks 247. Their offense, what flipped the switch? Robert?
I mean, I hate to say it, but I think it was the comments on the radio. I, I think that lit a fire. I think everybody rallied around Michael Turner, and I think Michael Turner had the weekend of his life. Um, I mean, I'm hesitant to give him any credit at all, but if I had to attribute it to something, I think that's what the spark was.
I don't think that's giving credit to the person who said stuff. I think that is giving credit to Michael Turner for saying, "Let me show you, man. Let me show you." I think my only, thing to go against that is the fact that Arkansas was not the only team hitting the ball well this weekend. The ball was flying out of the ballpark. I mean, no pitcher was going to have the game of his life except for Hagen Smith in the ninth. But
I mean, there were like 40 home runs hit in 7 games, right?
they scored the most runs in a regional in NCAA baseball history this weekend. So, yeah, Arkansas, their offense picked it up. But, I mean, Oklahoma State scored 29 runs in a game on Sunday, So I don't know what it was about that ballpark or what it was about this weekend, but every offense in the Stillwater Regional, aside from Grand Canyon, poor Grand Canyon, poor Grand Canyon, aside from them was clicking for sure.
They were probably feeling pretty good about a 7-1 lead in the 7th inning in that elimination game.
Yeah, they probably were. Too bad. Let's see. AZ Hog at MRSWINT2U. I don't know. It looked like Smith thrown from the stretch. Did he change to that to help him stay balanced? I mean, when I saw him throw from the stretch, he had runners on. So
Yeah, I'd have to go back and watch that to be able to make a confident judgment of or assessment of what happened. I can't confidently say.
okay. Dwayne Standridge at Dwayne 72601. Go Hogs. I want to shout out Dwayne. He comments on almost all the YouTube videos. I know he watches. So thank you for listening, Dwayne. Big thanks to you. Noah Pittman at Noah Pittman. Hagen looked like a legit closer who can get you multiple innings. Is it just me, or did he look more comfortable in that situation than he has as a starter in recent weeks? Think that may be a role for him moving forward this season.
I mean, he didn't he hit the first guy he faced, and then he walked another guy. I don't know if he looked more comfortable until he fanned 2 guys on the biggest stage. I think once he got that first strikeout, he started feeling a little more comfortable because striking out Rock Riggio, the hottest hitter on the freaking planet, was no easy task. But I mean, once he got both of those under his belt, I'm sure the last 3 outs were no problem. He's probably going to ride this wave of confidence for so long. I mean, maybe he starts next week and gets shelled because it's a different team. I don't know, but I have to think that he is over the moon right now, and he's just going to be pitching with his hair on fire the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the start. I think that was just all nerves. He came into a huge situation, and I mean, it's win or go home. They're telling him, I don't know if they're telling him this because it might make him piss his pants, but they're probably saying, "Hey, man, you're going to have to do good or we're freaking going home. So we need you to go out there and deal.
I don't think they had to tell him. I think he knew that.
Well, that is the situation. So when he goes in, he's freaking out a little bit. He's a freshman, true freshman. I know that Hagen Smith is a very like veteran-like player for a freshman, but it's still a huge situation. He had to have been nervous. And once he settled in and was like, hey, I can pitch against these guys, that's when we saw the Hagen Smith that Noah Pittman is talking about.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Turner said it after the game. If there was one freshman who was going to be able to do that, it was going to be him. He did it.
Yep. This is from Fireman 090815. All heart. This is a huge confidence boost. Hopefully they take the lesson from it and keep rolling. And last one here from at Bomb Bud Hog Fan. Do you want? He didn't spell this right. Do you think there will be a change in the rotation? Zach Morris, maybe. Smith and Wiggins have struggled to get out of the second inning lately. It's a good question.
I think after what you saw from Zach Morris today, he's a bona fide starter. Just because he is one of the hottest arms that you've had, and that's what you have to roll with in the postseason. Regarding Smith or Wiggins, I think Hagen Smith just proved the same thing. Like, I think the closer role would be good for him. Dave Van Horn alluded to that as well in the post-game presser. But I think at the same time, you're going to need to milk as many innings from him as possible. And we know he can give you length. So, if that outing that we just saw means that he's back, then he's got to start. I think you go with two lefties and use Jackson Wiggins whenever you need a hard throwing righty.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I do agree with you on the Morris take. I still think Will McIntyre is a great option as a starter. Connor Nolan, you got to have him as a starter. So you got a good group there that you can make a decision from. And I don't know, maybe once you get past Nolan, you just go with the guy who's feeling better that day, or I'd have to look at North Carolina. I don't know what their lineup looks like as far as are they righty heavy or lefty heavy. So, and we know that they're big on matchups.
You know what? I think bringing McIntyre out of the bullpen makes a lot of sense just based on the performances in, when was the first time he came out? It was the Vanderbilt. Was it the Vanderbilt series or it was the Auburn series?
Auburn. It was Auburn.
Okay. Yeah. Since he did that, I think I like him in the bigger games like SEC games, like regionals, super regionals out of the bullpen. And especially, if you're going to roll with Smith and Morris as your starters, both lefties, say the Tar Heels go heavy on righties to create advantageous matchups. If one of the two lefties fails, you go to McIntyre, you should be in good shape.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Let's tell you about Matt Morris, State Farm. He's a University of Arkansas alum. He's a Razorback baseball fan, and he can be your State Farm agent if you give him a call at 501-568-3222. He's your good neighbor, and he can give you surprisingly great rates. Along with good neighbor service, he can give you great rates on your insurance today. I use State Farm personally. I get my good student discount and I get my good driver discount, and it's 100% worth it. I've told the story about how, I got a new car, drove off the lot with full coverage because I gave them a call and they were like, all right, you're good to go. You can use your app. You can pull up your insurance there. So if you can't find your insurance card, you get pulled over or something, just be like, hey, here it is right here on the State Farm app. And you can also, so like you have the beacon in your car. And if you drive good, if you're not a bad driver, you drive like a good citizen of this country, then you can save money because you're driving safe. So call Matt Morris, State Farm, 501-568-3222 if you're in the Central Arkansas area or the Arkansas area to get great rates today. Individual premiums vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements. All right, boys, we got to wrap this up. Christian, I'm gonna let you have the floor. You have anything to say, man? We've been carrying this a lot.
No, you guys have been doing great. I think Caden Wallace was probably one hit away from grabbing the MVP. I mean, and then on his defense alone today, like if he had one big hit tonight, I mean, I think he takes it. But Turner obviously well deserved. He was on fire all weekend, and then he threw out a guy. So great weekend series, a lot of fun, long weekend. But as a Hogs fan, as a Hogs supporter, I mean, wouldn't have it any other way.
That's a good point about Caden Wallace, honestly, because Turner had a lot more RBI chances than Wallace did. Think about it. He hit a lot of home runs, but at the same time, they were all solo shots, you know?
I agree. I was thinking about when I was preparing to fill out my ballot, and this was
Never got.
this was I know this, but this was before the Turner home run, or not home run, the Turner two-run double in the ninth. I was thinking, well, it's either Wallace or Turner if Arkansas wins this game, and then I think Turner solidified it with that double in the top of the ninth. So, all right, boys, I guess we don't really have to do a super regional recap because we recapped every Arkansas game, you know. So we probably won't, or not super regional recap. So we probably won't do that, but we'll have you a full in-depth super regional preview. We'll figure out who we're going to get on. We haven't looked into that yet because we didn't know if we were going to have to. So
We may have something in store. Maybe.
we'll figure it out. That is to be determined because we've thought that we had stuff in store a lot of times and we didn't. So, go ahead.
Stay tuned on Twitter for episode release announcement.
Yes. And okay. You have anything else to add, Robert?
What a weekend of baseball. This is why we come to the ballpark.
What a weekend in Stillwater. You're currently there, Robert, so I'll let you sign it off from O'Brate Stadium.
All right. One last time from O'Brate Stadium in Stillwater. This has been the Diamond Hogs podcast, and we will talk to you later this week.
You've been listening to the Diamond Hogs podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Choate Mason and at drstew32.